pop back up later. Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal to you why in many cases that can be unlawful and how to get that thing deleted and potentially have that thing deleted permanently using something that has worked for different clients of mine. So I want you to stick around, and at the end I'm going to give you the actual letter that you can use in order to make this thing a reality, and you can apply that as soon as today. So that being said, let's dive in. And this is my third attempt to have this live video posted on here. I'm serious about helping people get access to it, so I've tried it for a third time, and let's see how this goes. But right now I'm on the Cornell Law School. This is a place where a lot of the codes as it relates to consumer law, laws that are in place to protect you and I, those who are buying and spending with larger entities, these codes have been broken down and made public, and sometimes made a little more simple on this website. So I'm referring to this because it has the codes that you need that you can use to your advantage. See, it's one thing to dispute and clean up your report using errors and inaccuracies. That works as well because the FCRA. But the FCRA is based on the laws and codes that I'm going to show you. So if you go to the specific code and you use those codes to dispute items on your report, it gives you another level of validity because you're basing it off the rules that govern them, rules that they're supposed to abide by, rules that they're supposed to follow. And in many cases, they are not following these rules and guidelines. And as a result, that's grounds for deletions of items off of your report permanently, but also that's grounds for potential lawsuits on their end, and they can be out of pocket because they have been operating out of pocket, pun intended. So let's dive in. Now, I told you, this is about you getting things deleted that have been previously put back on to your credit profile, even though it already got deleted. So what am I talking about? Well, this code is known as, or it's underneath the 15 USC 1681 procedure in case of disputed accuracy. A lot of the codes as it relates to getting things deleted off of your profile fall under this because this pretty much represents or embodies the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is the act that says these credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, and all of the other 50 plus that report information about your report, they're supposed to report information that's completely accurate, 100% accuracy. It actually says maximum accuracy. And if it's any error, anything that's inaccurate, anything that's outdated or unverifiable, then it's supposed to be removed. So that's what this code represents. But I'm going to give you specifically the code that talks about how a person who has something reinserted is supposed to have it deleted based on some certain rules. So let's dive into the first portion of the reinvestigation of a disputed information. So it says, in general, subject to subsection F and except as provided in subsection G, if the completeness or accuracy of any item of information contained in a consumer file at a consumer reporting agency is disputed by the consumer, and the consumer notifies the agency directly or indirectly through a reseller of such dispute, the agency shall, free of charge, conduct a reasonable investigation to determine whether the disputed information is inaccurate and record the current status of the disputed information or delete the item from the file in accordance with paragraph 5 before the end of the 30-day period beginning on the date on which the agency receives the notice of the dispute from the consumer or reseller. Now, I know that was a lot, but basically they're saying if a consumer dispute something, then they're supposed to delete something within 30 days or do a proper investigation within 30 days of receipt. So if they received it on May 5th, then that 30-day clock starts right then and there. So by June 4th, since May has 31 days, by June 4th, that item should be deleted or at least properly investigated. So that's what this is speaking on. But it says it should delete the item from the file in accordance with paragraph 5. So let's refer to paragraph 5 to see how it should be deleted. And then once we go into paragraph 5 to understand how it should be deleted, I'm going to show you about things that may pop back up on your credit profile and what you must do about it in order to apply pressure to them and get them things removed for once and for all if they're doing what they're supposed to do. So let's go down to paragraph 5. So that was 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Treatment of inaccurate or unverifiable information. In general, If after any reinvestigation under paragraph 1, which we just referenced, of any information disputed by a consumer, an item of the information is found to be inaccurate or incomplete or cannot be verified. Emphasis on those things. Inaccurate just means that some information is incorrect, some information is wrong. Incomplete means they left something off, which also represents something being wrong. Or cannot be verified, because many cases they're not able to verify it properly, especially when you apply the method of verification letter. But if any of these things take place, the consumer reporting agency shall, 1, promptly delete that item of information from the file of the consumer, or modify that item of information as appropriate based on the results of the investigation. Now, promptly delete. That means don't drag your feet with it. Go ahead and take care of that. Number 2, promptly notify the furnisher of that information that the information has been modified or deleted from the file of the consumer. Now, they're supposed to go through a proper reinvestigation. Now, they're basically supposed to promptly delete it, like within a timely manner. That's what it's all about. But I told you about items popping up. So we know that if certain things are inaccurate, unverifiable, or incomplete, then they're supposed to be deleted. We got that. We know that they're supposed to do it in a timely manner. We got that. But what about if they reinsert certain items? Well, this section says requirements relating to reinsertion of previously deleted material. 1, certification of accuracy of information. If any information is deleted from a consumer's file pursuant to subparagraph A, which we referenced, the information may not be reinserted in the file by the consumer reporting agency unless the person who furnishes the information certifies that the information is complete and accurate. So that means that if they delete it, then they got to certify that this information is complete and accurate. But let's keep going. Notice to consumer, because that's just part 1. They're supposed to provide a certification of accuracy of information. What else should they do? Glad you asked. If any information that has been deleted from a consumer's file pursuant to subparagraph A is reinserted in the file, the consumer reporting agency shall notify the consumer of the reinsertion in writing not later than 5 business days after the reinsertion, or if authorized by the consumer for that purpose by any other means available to the agency. Now, I want you to ask yourself this. If you've had an item that popped back up on your profile, did they or did they not notify you within 5 days of adding it back? Meaning, if they added it back on Monday, by Friday, did they notify you and say, hey, we added this item back? And it might be a rough estimate. So let's just say by that following Monday. But did they notify you and say, hey, this item was added back on your report? I've yet to hear somebody who said, yes, they did notify me, which means that many of these consumer reporting agencies are operating unlawfully, because this is a rule they're supposed to follow. If something got deleted, it's supposed to be notification sent to you that says, hey, this item got added back. If they did not do that, they operate unlawfully. And as a result, you can use what I call the 5-day reinsertion letter, which I make available to you. And now you can use that to get the item deleted. I've used it for multiple clients and got multiple items deleted that was once deleted but added back. No later than 5 days after the reinsertion. So when they add it back and they don't notify you within 5 days, okay, got them. Now we send that letter. Now they're putting themselves in position to get potential lawsuits filed against them because they didn't do things lawfully. What else does it say? Additional information. As part of or in addition to the notice under clause 2, a consumer reporting agency shall provide to a consumer in writing not later than 5 business days after the date of the reinsertion, in writing. And then these are the things that must be included in them notifying you, basically. Number 1, a statement that the disputed information has been reinserted. We already covered that. Number 2, the business name and address of any furnisher of information contacted and the telephone number of such furnisher, if reasonably available, or of any furnisher of information that contacted the consumer reporting agency in connection with the reinsertion of such information. So not just letting it be known that the information has been reinserted, but who did you contact? Give me the business name, the address, number, if reasonably available, of any of the furnishers of information that contacted the consumer reporting agency. Give me that. That's supposed to be included. So they can't half step with it. They need to include these details of who they connected and contacted as it relates to reinserting this information. And then on the last word of that, it's very important. It says and, meaning that this is not an either or situation. This is not just I can choose which one I want to do. No, this is you do this, and you do that. What's the third one? Glad you asked. A notice that the consumer has the right to add a statement to the consumer's file disputing the accuracy or completeness of the disputed information. If they leave any of these off, then they've done you a disservice and they're operating unlawfully. A simple notice that the consumer has the right to add a statement to the consumer's file disputing the accuracy or completeness of the disputed information. So here are 3 things that you can use to your advantage if they have something that gets reinserted that was once deleted and they didn't notify you properly within 5 days after the reinsertion. This has not been something that they've been doing. So you use this to your advantage ASAP. Now, let's go into the letter because I've given you enough to work with. Of course, there are some more things, as it relates to this code. It can go in depth, and I want to do more videos that kind of reference the code, but I also partner it with something you can do in the form of a letter that you can use today if you want to, in order to get whatever solution you're seeking. Now, let's go straight into the letter that I have for you. And I think this is going to be very important in helping you. I've used this. You can alter it a little bit just so the same letter isn't being circulated, but don't miss the main things as it relates to this letter. Now, you can get screenshots of this letter. However, if you comment the word letter down below, I'll give you the direct link to the letter, and then you make a copy of it for yourself. Don't edit the letter. It shouldn't allow you to based on how I have the settings set. But you can get access to it without having to screenshot it or, copy it and verbatim and type it all out. None of that. I can give you direct access to the letter. Just like this video and comment the word letter. Like this video and comment the word letter, and I'll make this letter available to you free of charge. All right, so this letter says, and this is what I call the 5-day reinsertion letter. It says, to whom it may concern. On date of original letter, so you need to know what letter you sent out or the date of the letter that you sent out to initially dispute the item or items that were deleted off your credit profile. So make sure you have that date, whatever date you originally disputed. I disputed an account reported by, and then you name of the agency or creditor, in the file you maintain under my social security number. I was informed on, and then you include the date of deletion. Now, if you know what date it got deleted because they sent you something in the mail saying it got deleted, use that date. If you don't know exactly what day it got deleted, but when you logged in, you notice it was deleted, use the date that you pretty much updated your report and refreshed and noticed that it was deleted. You can use either of those dates, but you want to put some type of date because what this proves is that you're keeping records. And if they see, okay, they know the date that they originally sent the letter, they also know the date of the deletion, I might not want to play with them. So it's all about a posturing of timestamps that puts you in a position of power as well. So make sure you have those dates. That's very important. And it's red just so you know to sub that out. I should have had that part red where it says name of the collection agency or creditor. I may update it and have that turn red as well. That way nobody accidentally sends it like that with the parentheses. Hopefully you know that you substitute that information for the information that you personally have, which is the date, the creditor, collection agency, etc. So you're basically saying I was informed on this date that the item was deleted from my credit report. Now I have discovered that the item has been reinserted on my credit report in accordance with the requirements of the FCRA, which is what we went over, section 611A 5B22. So we went over that section. We went over that that paragraph number 5 that I told you about. And then inside of that, B and 22, that B/2 section, you are required to notify me of the reinsertion in writing within 5 business days. Requirements related to reinsertion of previously deleted material. Now, this part should sound very familiar. Why? Because it came directly from the code. We didn't make anything up, fabricate anything. No, this is the actual code that they're supposed to abide by. Notice to consumer. If any information that has been deleted from a consumer's file pursuant to subparagraph A is reinserted in the file, the consumer reporting agency shall notify the consumer of the reinsertion in writing not later than 5 business days after the reinsertion, or if authorized by the consumer for that purpose by any other means available to the agency. So that verbatim came from there. It could also include the other things where I talked about the 3 things that they had to include: notifying you, then notifying what was the name of the company, the address of the company. It could also include that. If you want to add that, then great. But this right here has been powerful enough because it still embodies those other things. Just the fact that they have to do it in writing embodies all of those other things as well. I'm just letting you know how to think in terms of providing documentation that positions you for success due to the fact that you're using or holding the rules that they're governed by in front of them. And if they don't abide by them, then that's a whole nother conversation. And that's why I like how I close out these letters, because it really puts you in a position of power, but also lets them know, hey, the ball is in your court now. I'm just letting you know that I know the rules that you're supposed to abide by. But it also says this: I received no such notification. This is a very serious violation of the FCRA, and I reserve the right to pursue the legal action for your blatant disregard for the law. I hereby demand that you immediately delete the item from my credit report in order to avoid legal action. I am submitting this complaint separately to the CFPB, the Attorney General's office, and the Better Business Bureau. Please govern yourself accordingly. That's one of my favorite lines to many of the letters that I use for clients, because they're saying, listen, we don't have to take this to a lawsuit to where you have to pay based on your unlawful behavior. We can settle this like adults, so to speak. Please govern yourself accordingly. Then you just put your name. You don't have to give your signature. You can just put your name and address it. And from there, you'll put CC, CFPB, CC, Attorney General's Office, and the Better Business Bureau. Now, just a quick note. It's better if you send this certified. And if you really want to add some sauce to it, outside of sending it certified, get it notarized. That turns this into just a letter into more of like an affidavit. So it gives it more power because it's proof that it's actually you. They can't act like it's not you. You have it signed in front of an official or someone who has to pretty much tell the truth and, show that, hey, this was the date. This is the day that they signed. You would actually sign it then, but you will be signing it in front of a notary public. They'll put their stamp or their seal on there, and now that adds even more power to it on top of sending it certified. And if you want to do a return receipt, that's great as well for documentation purposes, and you knowing exactly when they received it, so you know exactly when that clock starts, that 30-day clock that we mentioned. So that way you can do that as well. Now, this is the letter. If you want access to this letter, comment the word letter below. Like this video, share this with somebody else who you feel may benefit. And I got more things in the pipeline that I know can really help you, but I want to lead with you understanding where the law is coming from, you understanding that I got a letter that can help you, and then you being able to apply the solution within 24 hours or less, and me just giving it to you free of charge. Now, if you want our assistance, then of course you can do that, and we can dispute things on your behalf. But if you want to take it and run with it and do it for yourself, then I positioned you and postured you to do it for yourself. So hopefully you got some value from this. Remember, like this video, share it with somebody who you feel may benefit, comment the word letter, and I'll make this letter available to you, and hopefully this full video post on YouTube. That's all I got. Mr. Smith signing out. Salute.